Hello everyone. Today I'm making a video because I saw how do I say it? I've been really apprehensive about markets lately. Not in a not no, that's not true. I've been making money. I'm still green. I'm doing very well, but emotionally it hasn't been the easiest. And I wanted to talk about my positions for the first time in a while, and I want to go through the process of finding them and just kind of, again, these are for myself, but I suspect, well, my trades are very similar to Martin Looks, um, because I today and arguably yesterday started going very long and like aggressively taking big risk. Um, and I went on margin today, which is the first time in a long time I've done that. And I'm going to explain why. And seeing Martin do the same thing, who's like a USIC champion, really validated me. And I'm like, I got it. Um, so we need to talk about a market macro perspective kind of first. You can just see it here. So I have these special indicators, super easy, but generally speaking, when T2108 is green, market is increasing. And then when it's red, market is falling. On average, it's very simple. It's just an easy SA indicator. And we can see kind of the same for IWM here. And when it's green, markets are going up. When it's red, markets are clearly falling, right? Very simple stuff. If it's gray, markets did nothing, and there's no information from that type of day. So it's not always accurate, but what's happened is we've had 3 days of falling. And I actually wasn't aware of IWM. I don't trade off of IWM, but that is part of the context. Here's Nasdaq and what it looks like. So first green day in a while in the Nasdaq, and again, this is not what I was aware of, but it's useful to study days like today where a very good trader like Martin goes aggressive so that you can see the context that he sees. And so a very simple system to find today would be, we had 3 days of pullback, takes out the high of day. You take breakouts, right? That's kind of one of the contexts where I can show you, we can look at the past few times it's happened. Um, you know, 3 days pullback, takes out the high. That's 2 days bounce right there. So even though Nasdaq didn't go up, other things might have. 4 day pullback takes out high. That's the start of the bull run. Same thing here. Multi-day pullback takes out the high on this day, and then the following day gaps up. And in that case, you had to sell on the gap up. But here again, multi-day pullback takes out the high. So this is a pattern that very clearly on the Nasdaq you can see it. With my tools here with T2108, I'm just brain dead. Like, is it green or not? Using my coding. Here's the 2 hour, very clearly trending up. And so what I decided to do here was I decided to go aggressively long when I saw this, and that is like step one, right? Because if you looked at the advanced decline line today, which is my other tool, it was a day to long things per my tool because we ended up taking out the open range highs of the advanced decline line. And buying came in yesterday. I went long yesterday on AXTI and it actually stopped me out. Was it AXTI? I'll show you my trade. This was a 1 hour loss. This is my first 1 hour loss in a long time. I bought this thing up. I think I got filled here at 112 on this candle here because you could see it happening. The market was going up, and I anticipated it, and then went straight up and then faded. My stop was initially 107, and then I moved it to 106, and then it bounced directly off 106.00. So I didn't get stopped out. I have my stop here. It bounced off of 106.00. I didn't get stopped out, and then I moved it to 105.99 because I was like, oh, that's a bit close for comfort. And then I held it overnight because we're in a position where the market's pulled back, and we're in a position where leaders could very aggressively bounce because they've pulled back a lot. Like a name like this, if I showed you this chart, like you obviously don't have, assume we don't see this 5 minute, assume it's up here. Very, very reasonably, you're not crazy to think it goes back to 130. In a very crazy stock, it could happen. And, on all the time frames, it's extended, but it could have made one more leg. It's okay. It's a 1 hour loss. First one in quite a while. So that happened, and it didn't work. So I got my capital back. Now, one of the risks that I've been talking about with friends of mine is like in bad markets, it's people don't understand how risk works. And I obviously it's a huge topic where people write PhDs on it. But at a fundamental level, if you think about why would someone like a very good trader draw down a lot? It's going to happen almost certainly because of what you would describe as time risk. So if you take one trade a year, do you want to risk 1% of your account per trade? Probably not, right? It's completely unreasonable. If you're taking one trade a year, I would say risk 15% per trade. Like, this isn't advice, but this is what I would do personally. If I was using like a Buffett restriction of one trade per year, it would be 15% risk per trade minimum, because the time horizon is forever. And the frequency matters a lot. If you're taking let's say Christian level, Christian takes 5 to 6 trades a day. You can't risk 1% a trade. That's crazy, right? You have to risk 0.5%, maybe 1% if your account is small and you have no slippage. That's 5% a day. If you're trading once a month, I would probably risk 8% per trade. So there's time risk involved, and the risk is with markets is that you get stopped out and immediately redeploy your capital in a really bad environment, because what will happen is you can actually overexpose yourself. If you get in a very good market, you won't have capital to deploy. In a really bad market, you can take 1,000 trades a day. You'll just keep getting stopped out. And so you really have to understand those. That's like a fundamental characteristic of trading that people don't talk about. So here we have this situation where I've started to take really large risk, but it's because it's the first time in this type of environment. Happens once every 3 months. So, or maybe more. But if we look at T2108, like how often does this thing pull back? It's every 4 weeks, maybe every 8 weeks. Like, this is a pretty big decline from 60 to 40. So this thing drops 20 points very rarely. It's not like a frequent occurrence. And then when it bounces, they can be very strong. So you see like pull back, bounce, pull back, 3-day bounce. This bounce here, if you're in very good stocks, will make your account, the stocks will do 20 to 30%. So you kind of want to be shorting things in this environment, and then when it bounces, aggressive long. And the shorts are just to prevent you from overexposing yourself long. It's not even necessarily to make a killing. It's just like, it's an understanding that you're taking short positions because the market is bad. At least that's what I've been doing for the past, since this period here. Like every day I've been shorting, and the shorts have like maybe made my account 2%, but I know people have been losing in this entire period. So that's the context that we're in. It's like a multi-week pullback, finally a very big green day. And so you're able to take much larger risk when the odds are quite rare. So that's what I did. It's really important. That's why I spent so much time talking about it. Now my watch list is, I think I made a video. I don't know if I uploaded it, the making of this watch list. I'm watching things like AOI, AXTI. These were the only 2 setups for today. And then if you look at like how the morning progressed, there weren't many breakouts in the opening half hour. And that's normally when I find, this is technically a breakout, but I looked at this and I was like, that looks fucked up. That is not like an easy flag to trade. I know it's a range, but like let's look at a good flag, right? Is this a good flag? No, it looks fucked up. It works, but it just looked fucked up, so I didn't take it. NVTS, this is a Reddit stock. I saw people posting about it on Reddit and being like, oh, thank me later. And it's like, okay. But it's a stock that the public trades, and it's fucky. Like it's literally not a good stock. This pullback took out the low of day. That's market makers, because everyone thinks the breakout day is here and they're just generating liquidity. So I had no bias on this thing. I didn't think it was a really good setup, and then it followed through. Hut Hut looked great in my opinion. I literally thought it could be a good bounce, but it didn't sell off hard enough for me, and it's not going anywhere. But we're seeing this thing where there's like actually really good breakouts like FCell, and um, some of the older leaders are remaining very high, or like in the case of AXTI and AOI, they're not bouncing, they're dead, and the whole market is bouncing right now. So for me, what I did was I took Rocket Lab, and the chart looked like this when I entered. So I didn't think the 2 hour was like, this is what it looks like. This to me is like perfect breakout. I could be wrong, but I'm very excited about it. I think it's very good. They have very good news backing the move, and it has a lot of characteristics of an EP that I would really want, like straight up on day one, and then it's gone very sideways. Like the cumulative return over the past 5 days is not very high. It had a doji, and then now it's increasing. So we're breaking out here, and so I took it. And again, this is an intraday breakout, so I don't expect it to immediately follow through. But the probability is that maybe end of day it follows through, or it gaps up overnight. And this is like a once in a 6 month or 6 week event. With INOD, it's the exact same thing. So this is like, obviously it hasn't broken out yet, but this is the time to slam longs because on the 2 hour it's breaking out, and there's a lot of context supporting this. And so I did the same with AXTI. It didn't work, but that's why you have a stop loss. Things don't work sometimes. It's okay. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens going forwards. I haven't noticed a lot of EPs. Like if we look at the names that are going higher, is that like an episodic pivot in your opinion? Like the volume's very good, but it's hard because all they did was announce AI infrastructure, and that I don't think that's driving huge moves. I mean, it might do it for Hive. It might, but here are the moves from today. Most of it is energy, right? That's kind of what's going on, and yeah, these things are like literally. This is like a short. Look, this is a flag that breaks down to the short side. Huge aggressive pullback, very tight range, breaks out, follows through. So it's not like in my mind where it's not like, oh, the market's breaking down, time to short. I don't think so. We're probably not going to follow through to the downside. That would be really weird. If I do, I will short things. But the main thing is like we have actual episodic pivot. Like look at the volume profile on this $140 stock. It's actually incredible. Look at the chart on this $140 stock. Again, it's like because the price is high, the volume profile doesn't need to stand out as much, but I'll show you the monthly. Like if someone said if someone asked me like, is this a good monthly breakout on earnings? How do you say no? It's literally ideal. So here's the weekly, so we're just putting ourselves in a position like if the market shoots up from here, this is the time to do it. And there's risk, like the market is not straight up, but this is where the expected value is the highest, and this is the time to push. And it's not just me saying that. I have other sources that agree with me, which is incredibly validating. Like when you make a trade without using other people's information, like with your own analysis, and then you see that like an incredible trader is doing the exact same thing, it's very validating. So yeah, so there's other context I wanted to show here. So Stockbee's study of 20% moves, there have been no 20% moves in the past few weeks here. There have been literally 23, and some of them are good. Like I thought RDW had a nice setup. RDW didn't really have news driving the move. You see it has no gaps, and RDW is associated, I get, like I'm just guessing, but Saddle is in the same sector as RDW. So Saddle moved, RDW moved. I think that's what's going on there. And then we have stuff like Stub, which had a gap up. So positive news and made a big move. SG off of earnings or whatever. And these aren't moves that I'm not following these setups because they're not really my type of stock. Like I genuinely do a lot better if it's had an EP or if it's an IPO. PURR, which is a spec name. They have like a special token or something. That's straight up. But yeah, like if we think about what's going on, it's actually nothing. Nothing is going on. We just have a technical breadth decline, and there's not really crazy. Oh, this is an EP. This is an EP today. So I'm gonna add that. We're gonna see what it does. This is probably gonna become a major watch of mine, but it's been, this is the first time in a while I've seen something like this. So I'm gonna specifically research this name. Look at the volume. That's how I know it's an EP. Like crazy volume. This volume is gonna continue to dwarf all of the prior volume. So earnings breakout, you know, there might be a move in the next 2 months that makes my account 20%. If I put, I won't do that. It's a biotech, but you know what I mean. There could be a 20% move in magnitude after this day. So, yeah, that's the market. It's really interesting. It's not perfectly clear that it's in a good position. Like no one is screaming buy breakouts now, except for my indicators. It's really cool. It's really, really cool to see. So major victory. I almost purchased this PIII. Look at their comments. Like it's crazy, crazy comments, but it didn't feel right to buy it on this candle here. I'll show you the hourly. You see, kind of broke out and then slammed down. I felt like buying this intraday was one of the riskier things. And I think a lot of these names, if they're not going straight up, it's not worth trading them intraday. But a name like Rocket Lab, where the price is very high, is a lot more likely to stick and hold intraday on a very clear breakout here. Same thing with a name like INOD. Like this is a very clear breakout of a tight range. I can draw the line for you if you need, but it's like that. So, and then the context is correct, you know. So first time a lot of firsts today, but they match exactly what other great traders are doing. So who might have judged myself in this case? I think it's really good. So I wanted to make the video. I think to the one person who inevitably watches this, probably going to learn a lot. And this is the type of stuff that's really valuable. And people allude to it. People do allude to it, you know. Stockby's like, oh, use study 20% to time your longs. Not very helpful, in my opinion. It's kind of like a very broad, it's like trying to cut steak with a butter knife, you know? Like, yeah, you should use a knife, but these numbers are still 23%. But look at T2108. T2108 I learned from Stockby, so I shouldn't be upset. There's just nuances that I guess he hasn't covered recently. He covered them in his old blog posts, but you have to go back and navigate his site. So anyways, that's my video. I just wanted to spell it out. Hopefully one or two people glean something from this. I think it's very valuable. I think if you only traded when the market looked like this, I think you'd do very well. Because what are you going to expect? Like if you think about the next few weeks going forwards, the most likely outcome here, like worst case scenario, we get a bounce like this 3-day bounce. It's actually a 5-day bounce. This is kind of the bad case scenario. The best case scenario is one of these, where you get a aggressive 5-day bounce, or one of these, or one of these, or one of these, or one of these, or one of these. You know, like all of these are fantastic. Could get a bounce like this one here. Fails. But like the average bad case scenario here is a nice move upwards in breadth. So yeah, that's me. I'm done. I am done talking. I'm really happy with everything I've done today, and it feels like this is a really, really good trade of mine. You know, it's rare where I go on margin. I'm generally pretty cautious about it because I tend to take huge risk on single trades, but in this case, I picked the two best names on my watch list, which were breaking out, and ultimately I went on margin to trade them. So yeah, evidently they both haven't worked from when I entered, but nothing has been worked. I think the context is so strong. Don't give a shit. If it works, I will be upset, but I'm not going to be that upset. So that's the video.